In every workshop I've done on raising finance for small businesses, they always ask this question: how long does it take, Bumi, from application to money in my account? Exactly. Tell me exactly how long does it take to actually get the money into my bank account? And they're always shocked at my response. I tell everybody it takes a minimum of 3 months and many times a maximum of about 18 months. So on average, you work out, you put that on an average, and you'll find it takes between something around about 9 to 12 months to actually get the money. It just takes a long time. Well, why does it take a long time? Well, there's so many meetings that you would have to go to before you actually get the money. There are the time commitments that the funders have, meaning they don't meet every week. Sometimes they meet only once a quarter, sometimes once every 2 months, sometimes every month. If you're going to government funding, if you're going to the bank, okay, you might get a meeting in 4 weeks, but they're going to ask you for a little bit more information. It could take another month. If you're going for business angels, definitely, absolutely, you have to budget for 18 months on average. So it takes a long time to actually raise the money. So the only solution to this is to start your funding efforts early. Start your funding efforts early. And I've got to say this as well. It actually costs you time and money to raise money. It can cost you time and money. At the minimum, you might have to. It could cost you transport because you're gonna travel to meet people face to face on most occasions. Depending on the amount of money you want to raise, depending on how you raise it as well. If you're doing a peer-to-peer lending, okay, you may not have to travel, but if you're borrowing from government agencies, you might have to travel for those meetings. They will require paper copies of your business plan as well as electronic copies, and they might tell you to provide them. So it costs you some money. If you're applying for business angels, then you're gonna have to pay some kind of money up front for the application process. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. But what I'm saying is, it takes time and it takes effort and it takes money to actually raise the funding that you need. So do yourself a favor, start really early. One of the reasons why I say as well, start early, is because it stops you from being desperate. You need to start early so that you are not desperate for the money. There are times that I've known of people wanting to raise money and they need that money like yesterday because they've got an order from a client they need to fulfill and they need the money to actually complete the order. So they're so desperate for money. Funders don't want you to be desperate for money. They want you to have a need but not desperate for money. Also, if you're applying for money just the moment you need it, it means that you're unprepared. And funders will look at it this way. They say, well, if you're unprepared to apply for the money that you need to run your business, then maybe you're not ready to run a business. And you know what? To some extent, they do have a point. So just start your funding efforts early. And finally, I would say it avoids a lot of frustration if you start your funding efforts really early, because then you can do things at a right pace to get the amount of money that you need to run your business. So let me just recap on some of the things I've said today. Start early, start as early as possible. So when is early as possible? The moment you know, actually, perhaps even before completing your business plan, you could start making the phone calls to make your appointments. So that kind of keeps you in check to make sure you finish your plan at the right time, because you got to finish your plan before you can apply for most funding. So that helps you as well. So the moment you are halfway through your plan, or you can see the end of your business plan, you need to start making appointments for funding. Second thing that I think is important to do, obviously you want to avoid desperation, you want to avoid or being unprepared, and you want to avoid the frustration that can come from not starting early. And finally, please understand the investment requires. It is likely to cost you some money, and it's definitely absolutely going to cost you time.